better than 7? Better than 7 or not?
We're all trying to log in now. It's 0 viewers.
It's
About to have
right
Yeah,
on one.
so
This is
now
what
you-
happened last time. We had what?
We have 2 viewers.
We had 5.
Yeah, one of them's me.
4 now.
Or the microphone's not on.
It might be on the mic itself.
Is that the mic right there? Awesome. Hey, good afternoon for those of you that logged on to the 199th Leader Brigade. Appreciate your time this evening and you taking time out of your schedule to have a discussion with us about the upcoming AIM cycle. So first and foremost, I'm Colonel Victor Saddle, the commander of the 199th Leader Brigade. With me this evening, I have the battalion and squadron commanders from the representative units inside of the brigade. So I have Lieutenant Colonel Chris Kane in charge of the 216th Cav, who's in charge of A Bullock. I have Ben Ferguson to my right, who's in charge of 381. And then to my left, right here, I have Lieutenant Colonel Davis, who's in charge of OCS. And to his left, I have a Lieutenant Colonel John Anderson in charge of I Bullock. So inside of this room this evening, we're prepared to answer any questions that you have regarding any of the assignments that are going to be coming up in this AIM cycle, and hopefully provide some fidelity to potentially questions your spouses also may have. So we're not just talking about the jobs in and of themselves inside of each respective squadron or battalion, but also we're here for your family to help you make a good decision, and a decision that is best for you and your family. First and foremost, I'd like to say thank you again for coming in this evening. By virtue of you being here, one, I would like to let you know that no matter if you're choosing to stay at Fort Benning or not, there are phenomenal brigades without here. So whether or not you're interested in ARTB, the 194th, the 198th, the 197th, or coming here to the 199th, we wish you the best of luck in the AIM cycle. And so the purpose of why we're here this evening is each one of the commanders are going to go through the respective units and talk to you about the opportunities that are afforded to you in this upcoming AIM cycle. And then we'll be watching in the comments in here to answer any questions you may have. But really, this is about us supporting you and providing information and answering any questions you or your spouses have. And then we'll close it off, hopefully answering any questions. But first and foremost, I'll turn it over to the commanders and let you brief them on the units. We'll start off with Lieutenant Colonel Kane and 216.
Thanks, sir. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining us. Lieutenant Colonel Chris Kane, Commander 216 Cav, responsible for ABO. So in this upcoming manning cycle, we do have vacancies and looking to hopefully fill those requisitions coming out of HRC for tactical officers, commonly known as TACOs, and as well as troop commanders. So if you think you have a passion for teaching, we definitely want you on board on the 216 Cav team. If your desire is to come and understand what I can do as a troop commander, as a first shot before you go on to the operational force, obviously that opportunity is there within the organization. So as obviously this is geared toward the 19 Alpha population, you all obviously familiar with the course. But some of the things that we've done a little bit differently since you've gone through the course and how we're organized. So what does a tactics officer do? So the start of Block 3 or the start of Patton Hall inside the classroom, that's when a TACO becomes the lead trainer for a platoon in a given class. And you will be responsible for the teaching, coaching, and mentoring from everything from the doctrine inside tank platoon to going through the simulators and the CCTT, and then ultimately going out to the field, a Good Hope training area, and evaluating those lieutenants that you taught over approximately 50 training days. So you will be a lead trainer for over half the time of that lieutenant or lieutenants in that platoon is in the course. It's a phenomenal mission. The TACOs love what they do on a given basis, and obviously there's no other mission in the Army that does what we do, and it's something to be very, very proud of if you're part of the 216 Cat team. As far as, if you will, options, opportunities, or tracks, we can certainly work with your timeline, with your personal and your professional goals. What you want to do with regards to if you want to become a tactical officer and then move into a troop command before going on to the force, coming straight into troop command. or just be a tactical officer and then go straight to the force to be a troop commander or company commander. All those options are available on the table. We have examples of different tracks that officers have taken from doing just that, to include someone who's gone from a tactical officer to troop commander and then going to an SFAS, so currently stationed at Fort Hood, Texas. So the opportunity is there again to do something special, something different. You sound a lot better than sitting on staff as you're waiting for troop command within the force somewhere. So looking forward to answer any questions you may have regarding the organization, and hope to talk to you soon. Anybody that's interested in coming to the organization. I'll hand it over this time to Lieutenant Colonel Ben Ferguson, 381 Armor Commander.
Hey, good afternoon, good evening. So 381's a rather unique organization. We're the headquarters and provost battalion for the 199th and the Maneuver Center of Excellence. And so really I'm looking for one special person, in this upcoming AIM market. So now it's our Bravo company commander. So realistically, that means not a lot to someone, but I'd say it's a quite important component of what we do. So that future commander would be responsible for all of our 5 captain's career course. So every maneuver captain's career course officer that comes through here at the MCOE, their company commander is the Bravo company commander. And that's a job in and of itself. Additionally, we've worked over these last probably about 12 months to develop the provost concept. So we in-process every lieutenant that comes here to Fort Benning. That eventually goes to 216 or to 211, or even our direct commissionees going to 311. So that's 9 courses for each, and then 3 courses of direct commission. And so we have this program by which we'll in-process those lieutenants into the Army. And so it's a pretty substantial undertaking, and I'm looking for maybe a first-time commander, maybe a second or third-time commander, to fill that role. Oftentimes, you'll talk with infantry and armor branch probably weekly, and you'll deal with myself and members of the staff across the installation, work with 05s and 06s. I think it's a great developmental position. It's something that I'll look forward to filling. So ultimately, not a lot of field time in that, very, very little field time. In fact, you might get lost if you tried to go to the field. So really, it's I'd say a good position. It's a good role, and you're going to be in support, and you're going to learn so much of the institution here, filling that role. So that's kind of who I'm looking for in the cycle. Look forward to your questions. Any others? We have lots of other units inside my organization, and we're a good team player. We'll support the rest of the battalions and the brigades here. So look forward to any questions you may have.
All right, good evening. I'm Lieutenant Colonel Ryan Davis, commander of 311 Infantry. We're in charge of Officer Candidate School and the Direct Commission course. We have a number of openings coming up this cycle to include platoon mentors and company command slots. I'll talk to you about a couple things. The first is the training audience at OCS. So we train the future lieutenants from all branches and all components of the Army. And about 40% of that population is in service or NCOs. About 60% of that population comes in as a college option, so they go to basic training and then come to OCS. So that may be a little different from what you're used to seeing from OCS. We have all of them have a wide variety of backgrounds, so they all have at least a bachelor's degree. About 15 to 20% have a master's degree or higher. So we get a very good population of very motivated people who are here for one purpose, and that's to become an officer in the United States Army. From the training schedule standpoint, we conduct 10 classes per year, so each company will conduct 2 to 3 12-week cycles per year. So as a cadre member, that means you have time in between classes to pursue professional development opportunities here on Fort Benning and elsewhere. It also provides predictability. So our schedule, like some of the other battalions and squadrons here, our schedule is locked in 2 years out, so we know when our classes will be taking place. Then 12 weeks out from each class, you will know by day, by hour, when you will be instructing or be expected to be with the candidates. So it does provide a lot of predictability. As a cadre member, we have, as I mentioned, we have platoon mentor and command positions open. So our platoons have one officer, a captain, along with an NCO, either an E7 or an 06, and you're in charge of that 40-person platoon for the entire 12-week cycle. So it's an opportunity to really develop and mentor our Army's future leaders. We also, our instructors come from all branches, so our NCO population is primarily infantry on the instructor side, but we have MPs, we have MI captains, we have engineers, armor, and you name it, we have it. As far as the training goes, so it's a I think, you know, if you went through ROTC, it's an overview basic course. So we teach basic skills such as land nav, op order process, troop leading procedures. We have 2 weeks of small unit tactics in the field. So the total field time out of a 12-week course is about 3 weeks, 2 weeks of small unit tactics and 1 week of land nav. So look forward to hearing your questions, and I'll go ahead and pass it over to John Anderson, who's the commander of IBOL.
Thank you. Lieutenant Colonel John Anderson has said, you know, the commander of IBOL, and, you know, similar to what some of the other commanders have said, really, you know, two key points that I'll hit on here: the predictability the other commanders have talked about, as well as your ability to impact the next generation of infantry officers. So, you know, similar to what ABOL mentioned, you know, you were here probably just a few years ago. I will say that we've made some significant updates to our 19-week progression. We've really looked at the live fire progression and how to best build an infantry officer from when they first get here through the individual phase all the way through when they leave here, you know, 19 weeks later, and they get ready to, they've completed their platoon level live fire. So some changes, we're reinstituting combatives, which I think is a great thing. We've added a night infiltration course where they have an opportunity to maneuver under a live fire. So several things we're continuously making improvements. So I will say that maybe what you came through here 36 months ago may be a little bit different. I think some drastic improvements. Predictability that, you know, Colonel Davis spoke about, similar, you know, to all trade out organizations. Our 19-week program instruction, you know, is locked in 9+ months out. So that'll give you the predictability. Over the course of a full calendar year, we have 6 weeks that you pretty much have off. During those off periods, great time to spend time with family, to reset. There are 9 courses a year. Each company will only do about 2 classes. And what that does, again, give you some predictability to spend some time with some family. But also, as some of the other commanders mentioned, you know, here on the Maneuver Center of Excellence, you need to catch up on the school. We send cadre back to Ranger School. We've also sent some cadre to the Bradley Leader course, Striker Leader course, Maintenance Maneuver Leader course. Really what's setting them up for their next career. So great opportunity for you to re-blue on some of the Army's latest doctrine, for you to really get a free opportunity at command, as well as an opportunity to kind of teach what you just learned at the Captain's Career Course, and, you know, teach what's going to be your future platoon leader. We do work directly with ARTB, really to prepare them for Ranger School, but also to do some training. They're Raven Company, they're Medevac Company. We conduct some training with them during our Enablers Week. So, you know, it gives the cadre an opportunity to work some of that cross-unit coordination. 129 Infantry, which used to be part of 199th Brigade, is now part of 316. We have a full week where we do mounted operations with them. So again, as a cadre member here, you're getting another opportunity to work some cross-unit coordination. Again, just another opportunity to see what all is here at Fort Benning. So like the other commanders, predictability and your ability to impact future leaders, I think it's a great asset that we have here. This next AIM cycle, we have 13 infantry officers that we're looking for, and look forward to some of your questions. So I'll turn it back over to you.
Thanks, John. Okay, so you heard from each one of the commanders, and I think I would like to double down on some of their stuff, and I'll go really by POI. So, and I'm going to come to this question that's on 381's page that we forwarded about why should I come to the 199th as opposed to going directly to FORSCOM? And that's a phenomenal question, and one we get asked quite frequently. And I'll address that after I hit these points. But I want to go back to ABOLIC a little bit. So if you talk about ABOLIC, IBOLIC, and really OCS, the type of individual that we're looking for is somebody who definitely has a passion to train, right? It doesn't matter the respective formation or the branch, but you are really influencing the future lieutenants that could very well be inside of your company in a very direct, one-on-one, personal manner, daily, for at least IBOLIC and ABOLIC, 19 weeks, and for OCS, 12 weeks. I don't know anything that is quite as powerful as that. And when you talk about specific to 216, the opportunities that they have, you know, they shoot in 1 year off of 9 classes more main gun rounds than the entirety of 3 Corps. They will do a 10-day exercise where they will be on tanks every single day. So their time on tanks, the time with the students, the time doing gunnery, you're not going to get that experience prior to being a troop commander out in a FORSCOM unit as much as you're going to get inside of ABOLIC. The other thing that they offer specific to the armor branch is that their company commands are actually allow them to get KD. Now, does that mean that we will keep you there as long as it takes to get KD? That's, you know, Lieutenant Colonel Kane's call, and obviously the discretion of your branch manager and what we see with discussions, but the potential is there. So when you talk about the ability to round yourself out, have some experiences, get some field time, do 9 gunneries, you know, throughout the year, depending on the troop that you're in, it is absolutely phenomenal, and it's really, really, really good to watch. Specific to OCS, and really 381 falls in this realm too, but there are a lot of branches out there outside of the armor and infantry, right? So I know we have logisticians, MI, and other branches that have command opportunities inside of 311 and also inside of 381. And I know for those people that are in some of those respective branches, whether it's MI, logistics, you know, I think what's the most strange one you got? Probably off. You have
engineer. Yeah,
MPs. So the command opportunities in those branches aren't necessarily as much or as many as you would have in potentially armor or infantry. So the ability to potentially get 12 to 18 months of command in one of these organizations and get KD even within your branch, they exist inside of 381 and inside of 311. And those are other phenomenal opportunities. Inside of IBOLIC too, another ability that they have, so it's obviously a 19-week POI. About 11 to 12 of those weeks of that POI are in the field in some form or fashion. But they also have currently 2 second-time company commanders. So not only do you have, when you come here for potentially 2 years, you may do a year as an XT or as a platoon trainer, but the best of those platoon trainers have the ability to get 1 shot or a shot at being a company or a troop commander to move up prior to going to a FORSCOM unit. So you get a free rep and a set before you go out to the FORSCOM unit. Really, that goes to this question: why should I come to the 199th as opposed to going directly to FORSCOM? So I'll tell you personally, I went directly to FORSCOM, right? But I knew my road and what I wanted to do after company command was to go to regiment. Why is that important? Because for me, that was 4.5, almost 5 years between those 2 assignments. And that is really where I think the answer to this question is, what do you and your family want to do? What are your long-term goals? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Do you see yourself being a major, wanting to compete and go on and be KD as a major and compete to be a tactical battalion commander? I think that is definitely something that you want to take in consideration. And why do I say that? If you go directly to your FORSCOM unit after MCCC, and a lot of people do that, there's absolutely nothing wrong. You're going to do 18 months to 2 years there, potentially a little longer depending on how you have staff, but you're definitely doing a second, if not a third assignment. Why is that important? Because when you get looked at for major, they're going to look back at your last 5 OERs. Right now, if you're 5 of 5, you've got a very strong chance of becoming a major and going to resident ILE. If you're 4 of 5, you're doing pretty good. But if you're 3 of 5, you're probably blade running. And so that's why I ask you is to first define what do you want to do and what's best for you and your family right now. What I can tell you decisively is this does not hurt you. If anything, it sets you up for success, and it's going to ensure that you're going to do 2 years here, and 2 to 3 years is going to put you in the window to be looked at for major. So I think that is a very good opportunity for you to consider both at command, training, live fire experience prior to going into where you're actually going to do it in a KD position inside of a FORSCOM unit. So the ability to manage your books, the ability to counsel, the ability to write NCOERs, OERs, and do all those things commanders do, you're going to get that opportunity here. The other thing is to consider your spouse. So many of our spouses, you know, they sacrifice for us. We move continuously. You come here for MCCC as an example, that's almost, better part of, a little bit more than half a year. If you have made that determination already that you would like to stay at Benning, now you're signing up for 2.5 years. So when you think about things specifically for me, I have 2 EFMP kids. So continuity of care is phenomenal up here at the Children's Hospital in Atlanta. The ability to give your spouse the chance to move forward in a job or a profession that they have, to complete a degree, and you get that predictability. So I think that is something that you consider, but it's a personal decision. What I can tell you decisively, it will not hurt you. It's something you definitely want to consider prior to going into, and I think each one of these commanders could speak to you if you do reach out to them. We all have Facebook pages, contact information. I'm sure they'd love to exchange emails with you on that. I'm reading the second one. Oh, definitely. Phenomenal individual.
Another comment that
Go ahead.
not showing up there.
It's on right here. It's confirmation of KD complete time.
Go ahead. Wait, can you receive confirmation on KD complete time? We're recently told the last 1.5. So I'm going to go ahead and read this. I won't say the name. I'll just read the comment. Wait, can we receive confirmation on KD complete time? We were recently told our last 1.5 extension would not count as KD, and instead my spouse has to still push to junior level in this upcoming marketplace instead of KD complete and receive senior status in their upcoming marketplace.
So I think it has to do with the infantry versus armor KD.
Yeah. So infantry company command positions are not KD complete, or will not get you KD complete if you're a first-time commander out of MCCC. We are able to get second-time commanders in there, and I rate them as a commander, so it's another OER. Abolic and Armor do it differently. They can get KD complete inside of his commands, inside of the troops, inside of 216 Cav. Similarly, other branches outside of infantry and armor, so MI, MP, field artillery, and the other ones that choose to command inside of 311 can also do that. If the question is beyond that, I would say their HRC manager, branch manager, needs to talk to them specifically about it. But there is a distinct difference between infantry and armor and KD complete requirements inside of a TRADOC and their formations.
Yeah, but I think that answers. And the DAPAM, the 600-3, lists the requirements for each of the branches. That definitely default to that or through the branch, because every branch is different.
And Megan, yes, armor for Abolic. Are you saying, I know this is probably annoying to type as I'm speaking. You talking for her husband?
Yeah, and I specifically what's going on. So it is written in the mill suite that it is KD complete. It is encouraged to go pursue a force comm command.
Yeah.
So if the business rules have changed, then they did not inform us. But yes, it is written in the mill suite per as the extra 600-3 that is considered a KD complete job. So the branch chief or the commandant has changed that. That is news to me on that.
And Lieutenant Colonel Kane has experience at HRC, so I'm sure he can run that down for your husband, who I see out in the field quite often, who does a phenomenal job. So I think that maybe if they're binning him differently inside of that, they may be trying to drive him back out to the force comm force by saying he's not KD complete, but they may be actually trying to set him up for success. Because multiple commands are definitely the preferred option towards moving towards the next level. But I think between your husband, Colonel Kane, and HRC, we can probably tweak that out. At the end of the day, he can, that's the beauty of AIM, is he can preference where he would like to go and get the one-for-one match. Okay. So we talked a little bit about the POIs. The other thing I want to talk about specifically for the spouses. The other thing that I think coming here gives you that you don't really always have 100% depending on needs of the Army and things that are going on in the world is there's predictability here. So as Lieutenant Colonel Anderson and the other commanders may have mentioned here, 2 years out, here's my class. This is where I'm going to be teaching, and here's when I'm going to the field. The other thing is inside of here, specifically MCO Fort Benning, you're getting holiday block leave every single year. You're not going to NTC. You're not receiving a no-notice deployment to Poland. You're not going to South Korea. you're not doing any of those things. And then inside of each one of the respective formations, 216, I know 211 to 311, and obviously MCUE with 381. We have not only holiday block leave, but they built in summer leave periods depending on the POI. So as a family, when you're thinking about when kids get out of school, what are we trying to do over the holidays? That is something that you can look forward to in terms of predictability. The other thing I'd say is, the opportunity for spouses here. So I just sat in on the civilian hiring board for MCOE. We have more jobs available on Fort Benning in the GS realm than we have people applying for them and or are qualifying. Not to mention Columbus, Georgia just got notified or just was informed we are now we have been for a little while, the second largest city in Columbus with other businesses moving in the area. So that in terms of ability for your spouse to gain either, continue with their career or potentially attend a university, whether it's University of Auburn, University of Alabama, Columbus State, or other universities in the area, I think make this a very good environment for families and spouses who want to continue to move forward in their careers and also, still be part of the military. And I'd be remiss if I didn't support my Garrison brothers. So I know some spouses may have questions about schools here on post that may be coming here or looking to come here. So we do have all the schools here at post, elementary and middle school, but what we don't have here are high schools. And high schools, we have several out in the Columbus area, and there are a few private schools that go up through the high school in the local area in Columbus that are very well known. But we do have some pretty good elementary, kindergarten, elementary, and middle school here on post for those of you who choose to live on post. Inside of the local area, so those of you may have been at Benning before, it's changed a lot in the 3 decades I've been in the Army. Downtown Columbus is not the downtown Columbus you remember 10 years ago. There's been a lot of money put into that. We like to call it now Old Town. A lot of updated restaurants, very modern. And they put in a rapids facility, so there's whitewater rafting now in the Chattahoochee. Just a lot of new development, specifically also from exit 10 up through exit 14 as we continue to expand the footprint of Columbus. And it's really encouraging to see that. I mentioned previously, Fort Benning is also one of the hubs, and I've been here 7 times now as an EFMP member. The hospitals that are in Atlanta area, and we do have some providers here depending on the needs of your EFMP member, but the hospitals in Atlanta, specifically Children's Hospital, are absolutely phenomenal. So I have an autistic child and one that is a type 1 diabetic, and we receive some of the best care received in any place that we are stationed in the United States at Atlanta there. So if you're concerned that your medical needs may not be met here, I can assure you that there are definitely those specialists in and around the area that would support you. I'm going to pause there because we've been going on now for about 27 minutes, and I know that everybody's probably getting close to dinner time, but I'd like to pass it back around to the commanders to see if they had any alibis. John?
No, sir.
I'll just say in 20 years, in a 20-year career, OCS has been by far the best assignment I've had. So I encourage you, if you're looking for opportunity to mentor future leaders, look at OCS, please.
So, I mentioned my comments last time, so I'm not a Benning new guy by any means. I did come to the Airborne School as a captain in 2007, but we've definitely enjoyed my time here. Moving from a high cost of living area to here, it's been definitely good, and so it gets me the dollar a little bit further when we come down here. So as I have 3 kids, that's an important consideration. Whether living on post or off, there's still a decent amount of housing availability here, and that's been pretty positive for me. Someone that didn't always live on post and had a longer commute, having at most 10 or 15 miles. Most people live inside of that side window, and traffic not being a real big consideration. We can get here, 15, 20 minutes, and that's been really helpful for me in this particular job. And so, I put that as a big positive for living here. It is not as hot as everyone says it is, but it is definitely something that I don't have to worry about. Okay.
Sure. And just to echo the Colonel's comments regarding, I also have EFMP family members, and we've absolutely had phenomenal support within the support system and getting any services we needed or support within the EFMP community. So, second the Colonel's comments, and then just finally, back to the initial question of why here and not FORSCOM. Again, look at your personal goals, look at your professional goals, you and your spouse. You know, there's something to consider. So, especially for the MCCC community, you're good at PCS and you're going to go on staff. And everyone brings, you know, their experiences to the table and what they want to do to succeed and advance in their career, what milestones they need to achieve to do that. But if, you know, a planner in the G5 or a ops officer in a division G3 doesn't sound enticing, like I said, if you have a passion for teaching or just doing something else to come here to add something to your resume to have that experience before taking command in FORSCOM, I highly encourage you to stay here.
So, hey, for the audience out there, thank you very much for your time this evening. I think what you should have gleaned from this is there's a lot of opportunity. But what I'll tell you at the end of the day, I'm a all-inclusive Army member, as all the other commanders are up here. Do what you feel is right for you and your family and go all in. Whether that's at the 199th, going to FORSCOM, or going anywhere else in the Army, it is a personal decision. Our purpose here tonight is to inform you that if you are interested in the 199th, here are our opportunities and here's what we believe in. And then to answer any questions. And so I'll leave you with, the Brigade has obviously a Facebook page. I think we have Twitter, and what's the other one? Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify. I learn something new every day. The commanders also have their own pages, so do not hesitate to reach out to anybody. To us, this is, you know, personnel or personal to us, and so we want to make this a one-on-one connection with whoever we want to bring in the organization, because we're hiring you for a very specific purpose to have a very large impact. So thank you again, and we look forward to hearing from you. Good evening.